Was Atletico Madrid 1, Real Madrid 1. Karim Benzema, Luis Suarez, Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid drop points. Happy days for me as a Barcelona fan. May it continue. Both teams keep dropping points like this. We're good. And of course, I need to. There's so many emotions that I felt today in today's match. This was a unique, honestly, viewing for me as a, I don't know what to call it, Barca fan, neutral watching this game. I don't know how I felt going into this game. From the beginning, I said I wanted a draw would be my favorable score, of course, and that happened. Or a Atletico Madrid loss. The important thing was Atletico not winning. But when they scored that first goal, I'm not gonna lie, like I was like, oh, okay, Atletico actually gonna do it. Can they actually beat Real? Like, should I actually root for them? I mean, it was my heart telling me root for Atletico because of course it's nice to see Real Madrid lose, and every time Real lose, it brings joy to my heart. I'm not gonna lie. So it was either that or hope that Real Madrid bounce back, and that would mean me celebrating them bouncing back, which
You don't
was
want to do that.
and I've never done that in my life before. I'm not gonna lie. I've never supported Real Madrid in a game. I don't think today my brain was having conflicting thoughts. I was like fighting within. Like I felt so many emotions. When Benzema scored, I was celebrating because that meant a draw, which was a better result for Barca. That would mean Real, who are just behind them, would drop points, which would give us a cushion in case we we drop maybe points soon. Hopefully not, and it also drops points, takes 2 points off Atletico, who are ahead of us. So it chops points off two direct competitors, which was the result I preferred. But I felt weird. I felt weird when Benzema scored. Like I was like, usually this would be me complaining, like, damn it, shit, like they should have lost this game. And of course, it's Real Madrid. They managed to somehow tie it in the last few seconds. Like this is typical classical Real Madrid, and you have to give them credit there. Look, I hate them. I always want them to lose, but you have to give them credit, man. Like they in games like this, they fight until the last second. Like I never count Real Madrid out from the moment Ramos put that header against Atleti in 2014, I learned to never look at Real Madrid games the same anymore. I'd be like, you know what? They'll probably score in the last few seconds. They have multiple players that can score, and unorthodox players like a Mendy can score goals. Casemiro
Yeah.
would step up. Varane would step up sometimes. So you know that at any moment they can just fling in a cross. Some guy would be at the end of it. Like, and it's always a terrifying feeling. So today I was like, you know what? Are they actually gonna lose the day I actually want them to draw or win? And it felt that way because at the 79th minute, Karim Benzema's chance was like one of those chances that you think, you know what, if he scores this, okay, Real could actually come back and actually win the
He
game.
could actually win it,
I could actually win because
and
it
he
was still
passed it to, well, not pass it, but toe poked it to Oblak.
who credit to him as well. He saved that and also saved the rebound as well.
And
So
then the free kick,
that
like a minute later.
was
What a
incredible.
game he had! But let's go back a little bit. Today's game was, it was like watching two games because the first 30 minutes was a different game. The middle, like, like the rest of the game, I would say was, like, you could say it was one game, because the first 30 games we were not in it. It gave me very strong Manchester City vibes from last year, from the Champions League. Everyone was so uh, unbothered, so tired, like, playing against Leganes or something, like, oh, we'll come back. They were like taking the game for granted or something. It's like it really wasn't the same Madrid that I had seen in big games this season, because there was something guaranteed about us in big games this season, that we were gonna show up. In Clasico, we showed up. Atleti, first time round, we showed up. Sevilla, we showed up. So I was like, kind of like expecting that. Okay, it's Atleti, so these guys will show up. In the first 30 minutes, it wasn't like that. And granted that Atleti played some beautiful football, and I think that's like some of the best football they played this
Agree.
whole season, or even in the last 3 or 4 seasons. I don't think I've seen Atleti play such free flowing football. The goal still didn't come from their free flowing football. It came from a counter attack, and I
Casemiro.
remember, my man Nacho, like I don't know what was you thinking, but what a pass from Lorente, and what a finish from Suarez. Like the Suarez's movement off the ball there was the goal itself. What he timed his run so perfectly. He was on offside position, ran like laterally, got in line with Varane, got behind Justin. That guy's like an expert in that. Like, I mean, it is such an underrated feat. Like a lot of players, the average striker would just run straight or run diagonally and never be able to make it. But this guy's movement is just second to none, and that was the goal. That was the goal. Pretty much, the pass wasn't that special, was just a toe poke, but that run from Suarez and that woke us up, right? But if it weren't for Courtois again, what a guy, what a signing he's been. He kept us in the game.
It could have been easily 2-0
It could
and
have been two
uh,
two nil, and even at times 3-0. Uh, there were a lot of scruffs that Courtois came and jumped into and saved us from. But on the same similar end, if it weren't for Oblak, the game could have gone the other way, and Madrid could have won it. But I think a draw was the fairest result, given how Atleti started. If they had just put away those two chances, I think the game would have been dead.
no, of course. And also, just to mention, like, just ignore the fact that I'm a Barca fan. Like, as a neutral fan, looking at the La Liga table and looking at the game like this, a draw, as you said, is the best result going forward to put more energy and life back into the title race. And now the title race is fully back on because now Barcelona are in second place, just 3 points away from Atleti, who are top place, with Atleti having a game in hand, of course, with
Yeah,
Real Madrid being 2 points behind Barcelona now. So the league title is pretty much alive, and I'm loving it. Like a month ago, a month and a half ago, there was already title shouts for Atletico Madrid already, that they have already won the league midway through, and forgetting that they have a tough run of games, and forgetting that this season is unlike any other season. It's rare that you find a team that is consistent from beginning to mid or beginning to end, especially in these circumstances.
especially for Atleti, they have a tendency to really drop points in the mid season. It's been their characteristic. Like
It's been their crutch.
yeah, like especially around January, February, they always lose points. Even in the 13-14 when they won it, they also lost points then as well. I remember very clearly. Um,
But the
they
gap was
were
big. Yeah, the gap was really like massive, and honestly, like a lot of us kind of gave up on the league at that point. But now looking back, like looking now at the table, I honestly like I can see all three teams have a proper shot at the league title this season. They all have a chance, and I think that also taking into consideration that Real Madrid's seven of their upcoming games, out of the rest of their games, their toughest seven games are at home. So you have to take that into consideration as well. But we have to remember that in 4 games, 3 games, Barcelona, Real Madrid are going to play at Real Madrid's stadium. So that is going to be
I mean at Castilla Stadium.
that will be a massive title decider. It will also be the first time Barcelona play there, right? In that,
Yes, it will be the first time Barcelona play there.
which will be interesting watching a Clasico in that stadium. I got to be honest with you, I'm not excited.
I mean, this Castilla Stadium is very underwhelming. Let's be fair about it. It is the same proportion. The actual pitch is the same proportion as the Santiago Bernabeu, but like you know,
to the
the
eyes,
stadium
to,
it's
to the eyes, it doesn't look like.
yeah, but that's just on the football pitch itself, right? But the stadium ambience, so the seats and the banners and walking through the tunnel, like we talked about it. Yeah, like you walk into Bernabeu, you see 13 Champions Leagues, you see 33, 34 La Ligas. It strikes a nerve in a player. You walk through Castilla and see a picture of you know just a youth team. It doesn't really strike you at the
Maduro.
same.
See a
Yeah,
picture
it's
of
it.
Maduro in there.
You see Hugo Duro's picture. It doesn't really make you feel like, oh, I'm in some trouble here.
But no,
So
it's also a motivator for players, like going into a historic stadium like the Santiago Bernabeu, also, and wanting to score in that stadium.
yeah,
History attached to that place, so it also affects the way that players come in and out, also play against and for. So there's that aspect as well. But honestly, like today, there was I wanted to mention this earlier, but I kind of forgot it. So there was a part in the game where Real Madrid almost got a penalty, and
Yeah.
that was a moment where I was like, "Oh, here we go, here we go." That's why I was confident where it was coming, and then VAR decides not to give that penalty. I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like the day I support you guys, this stuff actually VAR works. The day I
I
support.
mean, yeah, to be honest, that would have been a very, very tough call on Atleti if that was a penalty. I can see it both ways because that was just falling to Casemiro. Uh, that was just falling to Casemiro, empty net. That's definitely a goal. So in that regard, you're like, oh, that's a pen. I can see that too. And as a Madrid fan, obviously that's what I was leaning to. But like also, I think the guy was Hermoso. Like what? Like I don't blame him. He's just trying to he's just trying to jump, right? It's but like it's a weird one because that would have been given a pen in Premier League. It would have been given a pen in certain leagues. It wouldn't have been given a pen in most La Liga games. So it's a weird one, but I think in the end that's like a fair call. Um, I just wished that you know Benzema would have finished a couple of chances. I think he had a couple of good chances that he could have put to bed early. But before even that, like you talked about how all three teams could lead to winning the league. I don't think that's the case. I don't think we've got it to like in us to win the league because we don't have the players. We really just don't. We have 33-year-old Benzema firing us to goals. Like that's the only goal scorer we have.
Coming back from injury as well. Like that's his first game back.
It's his first game back, but like, like without him, we have no other option. We don't have a number nine that we can rely on, and that just tells you what we need. We need someone that will help us score goals, that will help us get somewhere. And without Benzema, we're nothing. So heavily reliant on one guy at the end of his career just isn't a title winning team. Um, Asensio, like he peaked in like the first 3 months. He's been very, very poor since. I was very surprised to see him start. I did not think I thought it would be the two Brazilian wingers that would start. I even expected a four in midfield, but I did not expect him to start, and he did. To my surprise, I even expected what's it called, Mariano to start, just because he had been playing, and Benzema was just coming back. There was a lot of thoughts, but Asensio, given his poor form, I didn't expect him to start. We're still making do with Lucas Vasquez at right back. That's just another makeshift position. A lot of attacks came down from that side from Carrasco. Like he had a great game, and Vasquez defensively was decent for his standards, but he could have been much, much better.
No, good points you made there. But honestly, like your next couple of games, like they're not like for all of the teams, like there's a tough challenge for all of them. But Real Madrid, honestly, like you look at their next games, they have Elche at home, Celta Vigo away, Eibar at home, and then they have Barcelona at home, and then they have Cadiz away from home. So you look at these games compared to like Barca, for example. Barca have Athletic Bilbao at home, Getafe away, Alaves at home, Sevilla away, and then Real Betis away. That's Atletico, sorry. That's Atletico's schedule.
Yeah, Atletico run. Yeah,
Barca have Huesca at home, Sociedad away, Valladolid at home, Real Madrid away, and then Getafe at home. Out
I
of
think the Sociedad and Madrid games are gonna be tough for Barca. But apart from that, in all honesty, I do think it's more of a two-horse race, just because those teams got a like regular system down now at the crunch time. For us, it's falling apart right now. For us, our players are getting injured now, unless if something goes south for one of those teams. Uh, like God forbid an injury occurs to one of their main players. What Barcelona have players, they have the ammunition to get that replacement in. All right. Bar Messi, there's a replacement for every single player. Okay. For Madrid, Ramos has been out from the start of the season and we don't have anyone. Both of our right backs have been out. Okay. We haven't got a first choice set of wingers. We really don't. We don't know for 2 seasons in a row. We don't know who our left winger and right winger, first choice left wingers and right wingers are. Except for Benzema, Modric, Cruz, and Casemiro, and Ramos and Varane and Courtois. We don't know who our people on the flanks are going to be. One day it's Marcelo, one day it's Mendy, one day it's Odriozola, one day it's Carvajal, the next day it's Lucas Vasquez. You don't know if Lucas Vasquez is playing right back, if he's playing right wing. There's a lot of, you know, makeshift plays that Zizou is working with. And credit to him, he's not spent a single penny. He's sold like 90 million, 100 million worth of talent. So I don't blame him. And everyone's aware that their target is to compete. And that's what he's doing. But winning the league would be an overachievement, just as it was last season.
Okay, now that you've said it as well, also we also have to like look that Real Madrid are still in the Champions League as well. Same thing with Atletico
Yeah,
until they face Chelsea in the second leg, which is a game that could go both ways depending on how.
it could. It's still pretty. It's still pretty open. Both the legs because they're just 1-0 deficits for and against. I think that will weigh heavily, and given the financial reward that comes with Champions League, I think it will be much more in focus for Zizou to advance to the next stage of Champions League, and bag that cash instead of like trying to come second instead of third in La Liga. So for sure, and plus it's Champions League. You never know. On the other side of the tie, there might be an upset. You might get an easier round and easier opponent next round. From there, you can progress further, and then it's just a cup competition, right? You can park the bus and score a goal and take the W.
Yeah. Do you see like today we saw like Lucas Vasquez get almost dominated for like an hour by Carrasco today before Simeone took him off for Joao Felix in the 60th minute. Do you see like Vasquez continuing further and Real Madrid like playing with the same almost lineup against the other big teams in the top games they have? Like what formation do you honestly like? Would you prefer what like lineup would you prefer like Real Madrid to have by the time that like the Clasico comes? Which players that are not in the lineup right now that you would like to see in by the time that El Clasico rolls around? Like what would you want Real Madrid to improve on until the El Clasico arrives, basically?
Um, I think either 4-3-3 or 4-4-2. We have to stick with one of those two. If you're suggesting a three at the back or five at the back, it's a no go for us. Because these players are, they've been playing in this formation for years now. All of these players, except for Mendy, he's new. Um, for right back, I'm hopeful that Carvajal comes back. He's injured. Right. If he manages to come back, I mean, he came back, he got injured again, so it's also a mental thing for him now, and it's a tough part of the season, so he'll be hoping to come back. But the El Clasico is in a month's time, so he might be back by then. But I do believe if it's between Odriozola and Lucas Vasquez, it is Lucas Vasquez that will start because Zidane loves Lucas Vasquez. He loves the guy as a hard worker, and he's put some decent performances at right back at the start of the season. So it would not be past him to start in El Clasico, and I think he'll be decent. Like today, I get it. Like at times defensively, he wasn't the best, but then defensively, Casemiro today wasn't the best either. Neither was Varane and neither was Nacho. So it wasn't just Vasquez. It was a team effort. Usually, when Casemiro is good, it allows the center backs' mistakes to be papered over. Same with Lucas Vasquez's mistakes to be papered over. One guy who I would really need in the starting lineup, and he's also coming back from injury, is Fede Valverde. Uh, I love the guy. He is amazing. He is powerful. He's smart. You know, he cleans up your messes. He brings up the attack. He can cross. He can create play. He can score goals. He's everywhere. He gives all teams all sorts of trouble. And in El Clasico, I think it would be like very, very, important. It'll be crucial for him to be in that starting lineup. Apart from him, I don't know which winger to go with. Like I said, I still don't know. Might as well just throw Hazard in just because, it's much like a roulette. You can just go randomly and be like, okay, let's just throw Hazard in. Like, why not? Yeah. But in the end, Zizou could come up with a 3-3-4, and we'll have to be happy with it because, again, he's the guy who won 3 Champions Leagues back to back.
He is, and every time, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, even though I don't think you see like Real Madrid potentially fighting for the title. I actually do. I see them fighting for the Liga title until like a good point of the season. I don't think they win it, hopefully, but I think I think they deserve much more credit than like you're giving them in terms of competing for the league because their run of games is solid enough and they can get a run of form. Let's not forget before the draw today, like, and the loss and the recent shaky results, they had a streak going on. So they were
Yeah.
doing well. And I feel like with more players returning into the fold for them, Hazard and other players, Ramos and the rest of the guys, Carvajal, I think that with these players returning in with each passing week, I think they'll slowly start to regain and rebuild their power again to battle for the title. But it's gonna have to come down to who can be more consistent. And I honestly, like, I don't wanna give Barcelona too much credit, but I do see us going on a run of form at the moment. I think the club is stabilizing from all aspects.
No, they are. They are. You're completely
So
right. And
mhm,
and what helps them, like get on this form is the belief in players, right? Belief in senior players, in the youth, and having all these options. Everyone trying, like, giving it their best on the pitch. I'm not saying Atleti aren't doing it. I'm not saying Madrid aren't doing it, but you know, with Barcelona, it's like they've hit their like coming of age time. They're like, okay, now we really got to do this if we want to be like taken seriously.
and of course,
Because
and also you have to like think about like some of these youngsters that have been brought up this season, and the fact that many of them, like Oscar Mingueza and Moriba, and a lot of these guys, they haven't played in the B team. So they've been promoted serious, like straight from the youngsters to the main team. They haven't gone through that phase of playing for the B team in the second division and developing and going further. So the fact that they've been entrusted to play under in this lineup and the way that they have performed this good is mind baffling. With the fact that they haven't prepared with a B team, they have just been introduced under these senior players in such circumstances. But that just goes to go and show how much Ronald Koeman has influenced and changed at the club this season. Honestly, the way he's given chances to youngster, seamlessly slipping them into the lineup and seamlessly also taking them out just to take the pressure off of them for a bit before he reintroduces them again. And we've seen him also try these youngsters in multiple positions. We've seen him try Mingueza at center back, at right back, in different formations. So he's a coach that I think is flexible, learns as he goes in a way, but he also has that experience. So he's not just a wing it as you go manager.
yeah,
But he's done very well in terms of managing the senior players and mixing them with the youngsters, giving them a chance. I was against him at the beginning of the season for the way he treated Ricky Puch, but his treatment of Ricky has been better lately. Even though I feel like Ricky is being sidelined at the moment for Moriba in terms of like the hype and the media right now. I think
but
Moriba
they're like
is
different
taking
kind of
that
players too, right?
spot.
Moriba is more of a central midfielder that's a good physical and, yeah, box to box kind of guy.
He was magnificent in that Osasuna game. The goal he
Yeah,
scored, the way he took it, the way he dribbled and went in, drove forward, and
that
took
was a
his strong
good
foot
finish.
onto his
Good
weak foot,
finish too.
and
Yeah,
the confidence, the composure on that was magnificent for a player only making his second appearance like it's magnificent the way
Yeah.
he's been introduced into the lineup, and the way he's been welcomed into the team by the senior players like Messi and others is heartwarming. Honestly, the attention he's been getting on social media as well is amazing as well. Like a player like that, like um, needs the support that
I mean, personally, I'm a huge Ricky Puig fan. Like on football perspective, not I'm like rivalry aside, Barcelona. Like it's the way the guy plays, he just has something to it. I think he's gonna be a big hit. Like even if not now, he'll be a big hit somewhere else. Maybe at Bayern. God knows.
oh no.
If Bayern come knocking, or like
He's too small.
Arsenal.
He's too small for Bayern, though. Are they gonna Goretzka him up?
Perhaps maybe they'll need like a Thiago replacement after all. Wherever he goes or whatever he does, whichever club he plays for, I think he's going to be a great hit. And for sure, Barcelona have got him locked down for now. But if they don't start giving him time, you know,
No,
he'll have to break out somewhere.
it
You
is.
you can tell there's something special about the guy. He's got something very deco about him. He's got something very like that Iniesta kind of mold about him.
Mhm.
So he's actually pretty interesting. But like yeah, Moriba, he's different kind of player. But then you move on to the others, right? You move on to Pedri, you move on to Trincao,
Fatty.
right? Fati, he
We're
came back
forgetting him
too.
as
Like
well.
he came back at the worst time. Like all Clásicos around the corner too,
He's,
and like
yeah.
I'd expect Fati to be thrown in with like a front four of Griezmann, Dembele, Messi, and
It's a
Fati.
headache.
Just
It's honestly a headache. Honestly, I haven't thought of it, but you think of it when Fatty returns, like who's gonna play in that lineup? Like right now, he's not even there, and Coman is struggling who to start, Dembele or Griezmann. Like when
yeah,
Fati comes back, who's gonna get benched? That's the issue. Like I know it's a good thing to have a lot of options, and it's amazing. Like we got monster talents for the future, like Fati, Dest, Araujo, Pedri, Conrad de la Fuente, the American, Dest as well, another American talent at the club, Ricky Puig. You've got so many talents, Moriba, and there's also talents in the B team as well that I can't name off the top of my head, especially in the center defensive midfielder. There's also a guy, I forgot his name, but he has similarities with a certain Sergio Busquets in a way, and he's coming up in the ranks as well. So in terms of the future, it is heartwarming to see. I'm loving it because the youth academy and La Masia has been neglected for a while at Barcelona now, and it's nice to see it make a return. And now with Laporta back managing the club, I like he's gonna keep the club steering towards that direction of using the youth players and implementing them into our lineup, and not having to buy most of the lineup and have two youngsters in there. It should be the opposite. Like we should be having seven, six at least youngsters in there, players from the academy, and then you fill in the positions that are tough to fill in with signings because you're a big club. You have to make signings eventually, but I'm glad that the club is heading towards that direction, and we clearly see the fruits, the benefits of heading into that direction. We've seen how consistent Barcelona has been lately, and even when we lose, like here's the thing: when we play these youngsters, even when we lose or draw, there's a certain feeling that what they've lost or drew that game, but you don't feel like you've held back. At least we gave our youngsters a chance to prove themselves. It didn't work this time, but we move. We have the next games as well. But when you're playing the fringe players that have been through constant defeats over and over again, and then you go and you lose another game, then the first thing your mind's going to point towards is why are we playing these guys again? Like, this is not the team I want to back. And even if we won, it wouldn't have felt that good with these players. But when you win or draw or lose with your own talent, your own players that you've developed, it has a certain feeling to it. And that is something I haven't bragged about at Barcelona for a long time. I used to be
a
the
decade.
yeah, I used to be the one saying that, I'm against big money signings, against Galactico signings, spending money is bad for clubs. We should always use the youth academy. And then I've seen how Barcelona has completely shifted from that model of thinking towards buying big signings, and everything that I stood for, everything that I liked about the club kind of contradicted itself at one point. So
Yeah,
it's nice to see that aspect of the club return, and hopefully
I
more
mean,
aspects in the future as well.
in another light, Barcelona might be like forced into a similar situation as Chelsea. Like Chelsea was hit with a transfer ban, and Frank Lampard had to use his youngsters, right?
And of course,
Uh,
you saw how successful they were.
yeah, and similarly, given Barcelona's currently financial like problems, granted, whoever comes in and tries to fix it and whatnot, right? There are financial difficulties, and they won't be able to make those big money signings, so they'll have to rely on the youth, which could um, be something good for them and may bear fruit for them. But it's definitely an exciting world of football in the future, and we're all gonna be looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll keep get getting it covered here on the Two Halves podcast. Sirs, gentlemen, do you have anything more to add?
It's been a damn good week, man. Like I can't deny it.
It's been a good week for you. It's been a
Yes,
We should all count our blessings all the time.
beat Sevilla
Always be grateful.
back in the cup, new president, Real Madrid, Atletico drawing. You know,
Well, I hope you stay happy. And on that note, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching yet another episode of the Two Halves podcast. If you enjoyed it, let us know by leaving a comment below and liking this video. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, we'll catch you in the next half.